And we are live. Happy Monday, Oxfit team. How are we doing? It's Monday, January 19th, and it is cold, but that's okay because I've got what? I don't know what that means. Maybe that was from a later podcast. I don't know. But it's okay. I don't mind being cold. I've got my starter jacket on. Pre-order ends today. You can email me, sav@ox.fit, if you want to get your hands on one of these bad boys. They're sick. It's the coolest merch we've done since ever. I know I look fresh. We all look fresh. If you see somebody wearing this jacket, tell them they look sick. I'm never going to take it off. So catch me rocking this the rest of 2026. You definitely need to get your hands on one because they look cool as hell. Thanks, Ant, for designing the best swag always. I am a starter. Right there. Starter. Said I'd never make it. Yeah, I'm feeling good on this fine Monday. We had a great weekend. Last weekend was all about some spring New Year cleaning, which is probably my favorite thing to do. I don't know why, but I love a good deep clean of my house. We deep cleaned the gym. I got in Grant Park on Friday, cleaned out all those offices. We came to East Atlanta on Saturday. The EAV coaching team did a deep clean of the gym over here. Shout out Aunt Lauren, Gary fixed up the machines, Kenny, Katie, Caitlin. We all cleaned the hell out of this place. So if you work out in EAV and you come today, make sure you tell Caitlin thank you and compliment how nice this gym looks. But yeah, big deep clean of the space this weekend, and this entire month we've kind of been doing the same thing to our bodies, believe it or not. So 2026 kicked off as it normally does with a little bit of reset for our diet, for our habits, getting rid of all that holiday junk, that alcohol, the bad habits, all that crazy stuff. So for myself and the clients I work with, for a lot of the team here at Oxfit, Aunt Caitlin, Lauren, some of the coaches, myself, we've been doing that spring deep clean of our bodies. And for most of us, that looks like going paleo, maybe doing some Whole30, really taking it back to basics with our nutrition, taking it back to basics with our habits, which usually just means showing up and working out, not putting any crazy pressure on yourself, just sticking to the schedule you said you were going to stick to, showing up when you said you were going to show up. And that's what we've been focused on for the past probably 3 weeks. And we all need it. I don't think you realize how much you need it until you get to probably about this point. 3 weeks, maybe you're a month into this process, and then you're just reflecting on how you felt on January 1st or January 2nd, January 3rd, coming off of the new year. For me, I was crazy inflamed. My joints hurt when I worked out. That's my telltale sign for, my nutrition being really poor, drinking too much, is my elbows and my knees are just creaky and sore when I squat, when I try to do anything. So I know as soon as my joints are feeling lubricated, I know that my nutrition is getting back to where it needs to be. And it took me until about last week to really feel like I was, functioning and performing at, close to my best. And, it's hard to go from what we were doing at the end of December and trying to stick with these new habits in January. But it's so important that we do it. And it's a distinction between, these crazy New Year's resolutions, new year, new me, going to do something I've never done before. Here at Oxfit, we've done this time and time again. It's not always in January. We do this whenever our body needs it. to give us that reset. And there's a lot of people that kind of talk some shit on the paleo diet or the Whole30 diet, or maybe you're doing carnivore. They call it disordered eating, or, why can't you just eat intuitively? I don't know about you guys. My body wants to be 300 pounds and 50% body fat. I can't eat intuitively because I just eat chips all day. So I've got to put some parameters on myself and put some discipline in my routine to make sure that that doesn't happen. And there's 3 big areas that change whenever you do something like this. It's not designed to be a forever diet. It's designed to be a reset for your body, but more importantly, a reset for your mind. So whenever you do something like a Whole30 or a paleo, you are taking your scope of what you eat from here to here. And as long as you exist within those parameters, you're probably going to be eating less calories, so lose a little bit of weight. Your macronutrient profile is going to be cleaned up. That means the types of proteins, carbs, and fats you're eating are going to be better choices. Macronutrients are going to affect how you look. Calories affect your weight, macronutrients affect how you look, and then even the micronutrients, because you're eating so much more fruits, vegetables, clean meats that you're preparing at home that aren't covered in all of these oils and sauces from restaurants. All of those vitamins and nutrients are going to affect how you perform and how you function. So sticking with a style of clean eating like paleo or Whole30 are going to do those 3 things. They're going to help you lose a little bit of weight. They're going to help you look better, and they're going to help you perform better. And that's what we want out of it. And that's why we do it. So when we get to the 1st of February or middle of February, whenever you started, we're ready to start adding things back into your diet, to your lifestyle, to create that sustainable routine so that we're not going to immediately go back to what we were doing on December 31st or January 1st. That's not the point. This isn't a 30-day crash diet. This is a 30-day rewiring of your brain and how we look at food and how we look at our habits. And I know it's tough. I mean, Lauren's working with a lot of people right now. And it's, like I said, week 3, I'm starting to hear the chatter. I'm starting to hear the buzz. Where do we get paleo cheese? What are the paleo-friendly desserts? Where do I get non-alcoholic wine? I get it. I miss those things. I have those cravings that I really want to scratch, but that kind of defeats the purpose. Everyone always asks, is this allowed? We have the paleo cookies, the compliant brownies, the fake sweeteners, the bread substitutes. And the question is not always, is this paleo? Is this not paleo? The question should be, what is this doing to my habits? The goal of the 30 days is not to be perfect, but it is to achieve a transformation of your relationship and your habits surrounding food and how you eat. And that's the whole point of this. It's not a very quick fix to weight loss or to get rid of that water weight. It really is to rewire your brain so that the rest of 2026 at 8 p.m. every night, you're not going into the pantry looking for cookies or chips or wine or whatever it is that's your go-to every single night. And when you do remove all of this excess sugar and processed foods and the constant snacking that we're all victim to, you really start to notice things like, do I actually feel hungry or do I just want something? Why do I crave foods at certain times? What emotions show up when I can't use food the way that I used to? And that awareness is really the win. And these 30 days are about breaking automatic behaviors and teaching your body and brain that you're safe, you're satisfied, and you're fine to just sit without the constant stimulation of food or alcohol. And I know for most of us, from Thanksgiving until the end of the year, we were constantly stimulated and comforted by food and alcohol. And I was too. It's not just other people. That's true for me. It was true for your Oxfit coaches, for Ant, for Lauren, for Caitlin, we all have some element of that happens to us around the holidays. And that's why it's so important to get out of it. And that's kind of where the cheat mentality sneaks in. People will say, but it's paleo or it's Whole30 compliant, as if that automatically makes it helpful. Your brain does not read ingredient labels. Your brain responds to sweetness, to texture, and familiarity. If something tastes like a cookie, feels like a cookie, and shows up at the same time every night as your old cookie habit, your brain is going to treat that exactly the same way. What's going to happen in February? You could, I guess, keep eating paleo cookies, but probably not. You're going to go back to eating whatever your kids are eating, the ice cream, the snacks. So if the ingredients are technically allowed, you're still practicing the same behavior. You're still reinforcing, I need something sweet after dinner. I need a treat to relax. I need food to feel complete. And if the goal is to completely rewire your brain, then that works directly against it. And you're not learning freedom from cravings. You're just finding a loophole. And we want to avoid that. We don't want any loopholes. And we really have to decide, are we going to be replacing habits or are we eliminating habits? And I think this is the point where people either find great success with a 30-day cleanse, if that's what you want to call it, or they find that they were healthier for 30 days and then they just went back to how they were. There's a big distinction between habit replacement and habit elimination. Replacement looks like what I just was talking about, trying to find a cookie that's paleo compliant instead of the Toll House break and bakes that you put in the oven. And habit elimination is going to be being okay with sitting in that discomfort of not having what you used to have, because discomfort is the whole point. This is the whole point of the entire challenge. The cravings, the irritability, the, I just want something feeling, that's not failure, that's withdrawal. And most people have never sat with discomfort before. And the moment it shows up, they look for a workaround. So that's my challenge to everyone doing this, whether it's carnivore or Whole30 or paleo. Be okay sitting with the discomfort of doing something hard. And if it's uncomfortable for you to sit on the couch in the evening and not have a glass of wine or not have a cookie, then that's good. That's telling you something. That's giving you feedback that your brain needs a little bit of rewiring. And that's something that you don't want to go back to in February. And when you stay present instead of trying to escape or get away from that feeling, you're going to start to notice patterns. You're going to notice the moments when you're stressed, because you're not going to be able to fix it. You're going to have to sit with it. The moments when you're tired. What do you want when you're tired? Well, now you just have to accept the fact that you're tired, and you need to fix that with something beneficial to you rather than drinking an extra cup of coffee or an energy drink or something sugary to spike your glucose and blood pressure. Maybe you need to accept the fact you need to go to bed earlier tonight so that tomorrow you don't feel that way. Maybe you're bored. How do you deal with boredom every evening? Or maybe you're just emotional. You finally get the kids to bed at whatever time they go to sleep and you crash afterwards and you need something to give you that positive feedback. And once you see all of those things and identify them and you're comfortable with those feelings just being with you and not going to food or alcohol, then they lose control over you. And this is why cheating, the challenge kind of defeats the purpose. You're not avoiding food, you're avoiding the lesson. So 30 days of temporary discomfort can break habits that have controlled you for years, but only if you let it. And growth is not going to happen if you try to make it easier on yourself. It's going to happen when you stick with it. And that's, once again, not saying that these things aren't going to be in your life anymore. They're just not going to show up in the same way that they were. I understand that you love chocolate chip cookies or you love chips and salsa if you're me. I'm a savory girl. Those things are still going to have a time and a place in my life where I can enjoy them, but they're not going to be a crutch for my emotions, for my stress, for my boredom. They're just going to show up in more sustainable, healthy ways, which is the entire goal of doing something like this. So, my challenge to everyone watching this, if you're taking on this challenge, aka all of my clients, instead of asking me or asking yourself or asking ChatGPT, is this allowed? Is this paleo? Ask yourself, why do I want this? What am I trying to avoid feeling right now? And is this serving the goal of the challenge? And try to put a positive spin on that. Don't let it be negative. I think I sent a message earlier this week about embracing the simplicity of having good food, meat, vegetables, fruits, staying hydrated with plenty of water. Embrace that and just know for this 30 days of a little bit of discomfort, focus on the good things. How do you feel when you wake up in the morning? I feel extremely well rested. I have the deepest sleep I've been having in months. How do you feel after you eat? I haven't personally crashed after eating a single time because I'm not putting my blood sugar through a roller coaster of ups and downs like I was when I was eating a ton of processed foods and sugar and alcohol. So focus on the positives, focus on the wins. And most importantly, if you slip up, it's not the end of the world. You just have to turn right around and get back on track. And that's what your coaches are here for, to help you do that. But if you're going through this 30 days, constantly looking at the calendar, looking at your watch, when is this going to be over? When is this going to be over? Then you've missed the point. This should be a positive experience and one you're excited about, because your body is just functioning at such a high frequency compared to what it was before. So that is my little bit of food for thought today, literally food for thought. It is, week 3 of this. We've got maybe another week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on when you started to go, of this paleo whole 30 clean eating journey. And just be patient. And I know it can be frustrating because you see things like, I've done paleo for 2 weeks and I've lost this amount of weight and I look amazing and I can fit into my jeans again. Remember that that's not what this is about. Results will come with time and with patience. I have been, not to toot my own horn, 100% compliant since January 3rd. And that is because I have an amazing coach, Lauren. I have a great support team around me of other women that are doing this challenge. But I've also done this quite a few times, and I know how to cook my meals. I know how to prep. All of that to say is that we're at week 3, and I'm just now starting to really notice all of the benefits. So give it time. It takes at least 3 to 4 weeks to really start to look and feel energized and well rested. You're going to go through that fog for the first couple of weeks. So don't give up. It's easy to be negative. It's easy to be a little bit irritable, and that's totally fine. But just lock in, stay focused, and know that, this 30 days of discomfort and doing hard things is going to give you an entire year, an entire lifetime of results. But if we're constantly trying to cheat the system, then February is going to come around, and by March, you're going to look and feel exactly like you did on December 31st. And we don't want that to happen. We want to have that super sustainable relationship with food, with alcohol, with exercise that is going to last not only all of 2026, but for the rest of our lives, hopefully. So let this be your motivation to lock in, stay positive. Let's see what the comments have been going off on. Toot that horn, girl. Yeah, I've been working hard. Chris says, don't reward yourself after 30 days by going back to all the junk. I've made that mistake so many times. It's true. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse, because once you stop treating your body like shit, it's going to be really hard to treat your body like shit in the future. So those nights of, or weekends even, of going out to eat multiple times, drinking a ton, not drinking any water, not exercising. 6 months ago, you might have been able to bounce back or think you bounced back from that. But once you start operating on a higher level where you're treating your body with respect and you're sleeping and you're eating and you're hydrating, the differences you're going to notice between how you feel today versus how you feel after like a weekend bender are going to make it very hard for that to exist in your life or in your lifestyle. So it is a blessing, but it can kind of feel like a curse because your tolerance for those things is going to go down, which is the whole point, because we want to enjoy the fun things in life, but we also want to have enough self-respect to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And, if we want to feel and look different than the majority of people around us, which I think we all should, because we are a deeply unhealthy society, if we want to be different, we've got to do something different. And so if you are, taking these big changes in your nutrition and your habits, then good for you, because there's a lot of people that wouldn't have made it 1 week and we're almost a month in, which is pretty amazing. So we're going to close it out. Kira reminded me, no chips and salsa for dinner. That is my favorite girl dinner, but I don't do that anymore because I am rewiring my brain to not be a chips and salsa fiend any longer. But I hope you guys have an awesome Monday. Remember, changing up your lifestyle, your nutrition, your workout routine, that can be really tough to do alone. Even I can't do it alone. I need to have support. So if you want to make big changes, maybe you tried to start making some changes on January 1st and now it's January 19th and you feel like you haven't really gotten anywhere, that's your signal to ask for help. So email me, sav@ox.fit, send me a DM on Instagram, find me in the gym. I'm always looking to help people learn how to introduce actual, sustainable, healthy habits into their routine and bring them along this journey. So I hope you guys have an awesome day. And I will see you in the gym for some great workouts. And don't forget, today's the last day. Pre-order. Last day to get your starter jacket. Don't miss it. All right. Peace, you guys.